Hi everyone, welcome back to GoLocal Live. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel. Thanks for tuning in this Wednesday afternoon with lots of news and politics nationally and locally, and getting very local here with Marcella Bettencourt, the head of the Latino Policy Institute at Roger Williams University, here to talk about the RICAS scores released this week and looking at some achievement gaps that are pretty glaring. So, Marcella, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we put the piece up earlier today. Now, the scores came out yesterday. The state touting some increases across the board, but as you pointed out in your release, some glaring discrepancies between communities and achievement levels, depending a lot based on income.
Correct.
So, when you saw the RICAS scores and you sort of broke them down, let's A, start with your reaction, and then B, as you said, do not hold the kids responsible. These are the kids just placed in this position. And then finally, what needs to be done to move this forward?
Yeah, so we were expecting these scores for a while, and so I'm excited that they came out because it starts good conversations as they did last year, and I think last year they actually came out later in the year. So once I looked at it and like at the press release and information from RIDE, I appreciated foremost the response from the commissioner of this is, we see some improvement, but don't start getting excited just yet. This is normal. This is actually what was expected. And so weeks prior, these are many of the comments that they were making of we are expecting some of the percentages to go up because it's the second year that our students and our teachers get more comfortable with the test. So this is something normal that we were expecting to happen. But then again, when we open the data, we once again see the disparities among our communities, especially those in the urban core, those who serve students who are low income, those that have a larger percentage of English language learners and students with disabilities. So the disparities have been there. Last year when these scores came out, we started comparing our, how could we be great as Massachusetts? And so what I appreciate now is that the messaging is moving away from that of, we have realized and finally understood that yes, Massachusetts is doing better, but they are also having the same equity gaps that we are.
Yes.
Students that look like the ones in our cities are also failing. So that's not the measurement we want to have. We want to be better and analyze why that's happening.
So there's two categories. There's English language arts and then there's mathematics. And one of the things the Latino Policy Institute points out, of course, obviously for a number of students who are English language learners, let's talk a little bit. I mean, it's hard to address the test itself, right? I mean, to say there probably could be a better way to address this because some of those English language learners, as they move up grades, are learning English here.
Correct.
But at the same time, we're continuing to get an influx of students for whom English is a language that they are learning.
Correct.
So, how does the state balance that to say there might be gains in some places with students who are learning English, but again, the ones who are being tested in a language that they're just learning each and every year has to be accounted for.
Yeah, and so English language learners take an exam called ACCESS. I'm sure it's an acronym for a very long test, but they take an ACCESS test to measure the progress of learning the language. And so I think in lots of people believe that this is how we should actually measure the success of our students when they're English language learners, because the test, even when it comes to mathematics might, to some, you might think, but it's just numbers, it's not a language. However, as we know, math brings word problems, right? So we are, once again, bringing this structure there. And RICA's English portion is trying to measure the understanding and the efficiency that our students can learn and understand in English. So I think it would be more productive for our state to focus on what programs our ELL students are part of and how they're doing in their access test. And once they are completely out of the ELL programming, that's when RICA's actually would be beneficial. And that's how we can actually measure the success of our students.
So you're saying, again, that separate access test is to make sure you know which student's taking which one.
Correct.
Do you think, have you had conversations with the Department of Education about this, with the governor's office about this? Is there a possibility to see a change in the structure, do you think, in the coming years?
So we have not had a conversation yet. We are hoping to do so by the end of this week and beginning of next, because I think this is a great conversation. I'm also really fortunate to have individuals on my advisory board that are educators for a living, and they are having these conversations, especially within their communities and with RIDE, about how we should really set up our students for success and how we should really be measuring their progress.
Because you did point out, and I'm going to keep going back to
Yep.
this about not blaming the students, because the students see the results as well as parents, schools, and the rest of the community, and if not up to par with the rest of the state, can probably be a little demoralizing to these students to say, oh, well, we're not doing so well. And you really stress, we have to hold the districts accountable, we have to hold the schools, and they're the ones whose responsibility is to raise these students up. Plenty of hardworking educators across the state are working to do that. But again, really trying to say to the students, we're here and we're trying to find a system that is going to enable you to succeed.
Absolutely, and so that's why I'm really excited to hear that we are looking into better curriculum for our English language learners and students with disabilities, and just across the board, better curriculum and programming for our students. I think it's also, like, funding is an incredible investment that we have not done well in our state when it comes to our students, especially those in cities that are low income and have more people of color than others. And so I think that that's a really important thing, and that's my hope from these scores, that rather than saying, well, the kids are just not good at taking tests or the kids are just not learning, how about we talk about what we are investing in our students and what we should be doing next. I think this is an important conversation. We're having important conversations as a state. We're having important conversations in the legislature as we look at the funding formula. So this is a really great place to start, but it's also a great place to step back and understand that we are providing this setup for children.
Well, I appreciate your coming in because, again, the RICA score is released, but again, from the Latino Policy Institute, breaking it down, what it means for students, and how putting a plan in place to, help students achieve moving forward.
Yeah.
So, always appreciate the Latino Policy Institute coming in, and Marcella Bettencourt. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much.
it. And thank you for watching today. We had a full day. Jennifer Lawless at the University of Virginia, Jim Vincent with the NAACP, Marcella Bettencourt with the Latino Policy Institute. We'll see you throughout the evening and the rest of the day on GoLocalProv.com, and find us on Facebook. And we'll see you back on live shortly on location. So see us when we pop up. I'm GoLocal News Editor Kate Nagel.